Hey guys, so we're back with a video on the iPhone SE 2020 as promised. Now, I'm going to preface this whole video by saying treat everything I say here with a gigantic, boulder-sized grain of salt, because I recognize that this is not a flagship, and I also recognize that you're not paying flagship money for this phone. So take it easy on the comments. Not that anybody comments. So anyways, the iPhone SE 2020 has two major things going for it that I will highlight as the pros of getting this phone. Number one being the price. For a starting price of $599 Canadian, you cannot find any other iPhone that was made in this year for around that price point. You can get some used iPhones for some ridiculously marked up prices. I don't know why, but this thing starts at $600. The second thing that's great about this phone is Apple giving it support, just like the previous iPhone has support for the next, I don't know how many more years. It's a 6-year-old or 5-year-old phone and it's still going strong. It's still running the latest OS. This guy will also probably have support for the next couple of years. So you'll always have the latest FaceTime options and the latest other software upgrades and amazing things that Apple does. And that's where the list kind of stops. Like I mentioned, this is not a flagship. I understand that, and please be aware that I am aware of that during my criticism. The screen. That is my biggest complaint about this phone. It really takes you back to the days of the older phones because there's a bezel on the top and the bottom and it's really big and the screen itself is really small and the resolution is also very small. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of is the fact that the camera on this thing is okay. With the A13 Bionic processor that this has, it should in theory be able to do nighttime photography, kind of like the iPhone 11 and the Pro and the Pro Max do, but it doesn't. And there's also some speculation that Apple has downclocked the performance of the CPU, so it's not performing at its mega ultra-ness. So that's the second thing. And now the third thing that I don't like about this thing is the battery life. Again, I know it's not a flagship, but I'm just saying that usually by around 6 p.m. I'm at about 20% battery life. I don't play games on my phone. I have a baby monitor on sometimes. I'm watching a YouTube video here or there, a little bit of social media, messaging, emails, phone calls, WhatsApp. That's about it. But the battery doesn't last me a whole day. And that's not the end of the world. Everyone's at home nowadays, so you can just plug it in. But I'm just mentioning that the battery life is not as stellar as we're used to nowadays, with all the flagships lasting you well over a day in some cases. So that is basically it. I mean, I'll leave it at this. If you are somebody who needs a phone temporarily to hold you over until you can get the next flagship, this is the phone for you. If you are somebody who just needs to scratch an itch and wants an iPhone for cheap that will not slow down for the next foreseeable future, and you don't really care that much about images and pictures and the screen resolution, it doesn't bug you that much, this might be the phone for you. Or if you would like to upgrade your parents' phones, like my dad still uses an iPhone 7. So this for him is a great upgrade. Maybe the same thing applies to your parents. But for the most part, if you are somebody who wants the latest and greatest, then the iPhone 12 is in theory just around the corner. So maybe skip this guy, hang on tight to your money, and then give it all to Apple in September, because you know that price is going to be something crazy. Anyways, that's been it for me, guys. Thank you much for watching, and I will see you next time.